So how do we now use this provider here? Well, generally in the same way as before. And for that we can, for example, go to the tabs.dart file again. Because there, in the build method of the tabs state, we are rendering the meals screen as our favorites screen in the end if that tab is selected. And here we're passing our favorite meals to this meals screen. Now therefore it's here where we actually want to reach out to our favorite meals provider to get those favorite meals to pass them to the meals screen. Now you could argue that of course we might want to do this from inside the meals screen instead, because that is where we need those meals after all. But keep in mind that this meals screen is not just used as a favorites screen, but also inside of the categories screen once we selected a category. There we also go to the meals screen, and there we then don't just want to show the favorites, but all meals that fit this category. Therefore here it actually makes sense to keep the meals screen configurable and accept the meals that should be displayed there as a parameter, so that this meals screen widget can be reused from inside different screens, and we instead get the favorite meals in the place where we need exactly the favorite meals. And that would be here if this tab is selected in our tabs screen in the end. Now here, conveniently, we are already extending consumer state, and we need to do this here because we want to access a provider. We now just have to make sure that we also do import this newly added provider. So this favorites provider here, this import must be added to the tabs.dart file. And with that added, we can go back to the build method, and there we can now also set up another watcher here where we need our favorite meals. And here we'll then get our favorite meals by using ref watch and watching the favorite meals provider. So this provider, which we just defined here in the favorites provider Dart file. We're watching it here, we're getting the favorite meals here, and it's now these favorite meals which we pass as a value to meals. This also means that we can get rid of this favorite meals state variable here in the tab screen state. We can get rid of that, and we can get rid of this entire method here because we are no longer managing this list of favorites here. We are instead managing this in our state notifier and therefore in our provider. Now regarding this info message that we might want to show, I'll get back to this soon. For the moment I'll just keep it here and we'll move it somewhere else soon. But now with that down here, we of course also have to do some cleanup work. Because this toggle meal favorite status, which we passed through all these layers of widgets, can and should now finally be removed, because now finally we can get rid of this chain here and instead use our provider to access and change the data directly from the place where we need to access or change it. Hence, we should get rid of the onToggle favorite parameter here on categories screen and on meals screen. And of course, it's not enough to just remove it here in the place where we use these widgets. Instead, we also have to go to these widgets, and there in categories screen, we should get rid of onToggle favorite and also get rid of this property. And then of course, with that, also get rid of the property here on the meals screen. And then in the meals screen, we also have to remove this parameter and this property. And then here we passed it to the meal detail screen in the past, and this now also thankfully can be removed, making our overall code simpler. In the meal details screen, we therefore now also have to get rid of onToggle favorite, because we no longer have to pass this function around. And instead now we want to trigger this favorite status update, which we defined in our favorites provider, or in the state notifier there to be precise, from inside this meal details screen. And that's therefore now the next step.